So I can't get a little piece. Okay.
Best of luck, guys, with
Thank
everything.
you so much.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for having us on.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Angus.
Oh, for details of today's recipes, check out our free this morning app.
After the break, whether you're worried about renewing or you don't know where to apply, the mortgage mum, Sarah Tucker, is going to be taking your calls.
And as the celebrities head into the jungle this weekend, we'll be taking our very own Bush Tucker trial. Oh, I don't know if we're going to do it. See you after this.
You all right?
I'm all right.
Welcome back, everyone. Excited about that. I haven't heard that song for ages. Leslie requested Duran Duran's hit Planet Earth on the jukebox. Today's one of her favourites. Well done, Leslie.
Thank you,
Come on, Leslie.
Thank you to everyone who got in touch with our
Good
jukebox
music
today.
taste.
I've really enjoyed it. Best of British, hey-ho.
That's the best one we've done.
Another wonderful British lady.
Go on.
It's the mortgage lady,
Oh,
or even the
yeah.
mortgage mum.
The mortgage mum.
Well, with mortgage rates dipping to their lowest for 3 years, the mortgage mum, Sarah Tucker, is here to answer your questions.
And before we go to the calls, how's this happened, Sarah, and explain what it means?
Okay, so the banks are in a rate war in the best possible way. So lower interest rates, finally, in the mortgage market.
How's it happened?
So it's happened because, well, everyone's been working very hard to make this happen. Swap rates, which is what the market think the market will do. In the background, it's also the rate of borrowing for lenders have been the lowest they've been for 3 years. We don't know if they'll stay there because we have the autumn budget coming and we don't know what that's going to do. But for now, the fixed rates are based on those swap rates. The market feels confident. We feel like inflation, it has hit its peak. And we also think the Bank of England may make another base rate reduction. And so the interest rates are being priced in for that. So if you think about it, they're being quite tactical. So some lenders are thinking, I think this is going to happen. I want to get more customers in by the end of the year. So let's lower interest rates. And they're all battling each other.
All right. Well, let's go to the calls because we've got loads. Vixen's first up. Hi, Vixen.
Morning, Vixen.
Hi. Morning, Alison.
Hey,
Morning,
Vixen.
Dermot.
You in Suffolk. You want to ask about a better rate. Tell us your situation.
Yes, so we're currently in the process of remortgaging through a broker, trying to get a better fixed rate because ours is coming to an end this December. We've had the agreement in principle through from a lender and we've started the application process. But my question is, if the rates change after the budget on the 26th, will the broker or the lender adjust the product that we've applied for, or are we locked into that rate from the agreement in principle?
Really good question, and lots of you will be in the same position. You must ask your advisor if they naturally reprice that deal for you. In my opinion, every advisor in the country, if you're listening, should be doing this as part of their normal service because we've seen rates moving so often this year. Ask them the question. You said your rate's coming up in December, so you've got roughly 6-7 weeks, scarily, to check whether that's going to happen. But it's worth doing because, like I just said, it could go the other way. So it's best to fix your rate in now and make sure they've locked that rate in, that you haven't just got an agreement in principle, that you've locked the rate in. So please ask your advisor that question and ask them if they're going to check it for you. It's not your job, it's their job to make sure you get the best rate. So ask them, make sure they're going to do that. And anyone that is asking an advisor to do that and they're not naturally offering it, major red flag.
Right,
major red flag. So definitely ask your advisor to check and fix your deals in now because it's a really good time to do that.
Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. Good luck with that,
Thank
Vixen.
Thanks,
Good
Vixen.
luck. Good luck. Let's go to Timothy now. I am desperate to move out and currently have about £18,000 invested. What might this be able to get me and where do I even start with my search?
It's a really, really good question because there's 7,000 mortgage products on the market. So you are not expected, Timothy, to work this out on your own. The best thing you can do is speak to an advisor as early as possible. So ringing in the show is a great place to start, but find yourself an advisor that you feel really comfortable with. This is not a transactional relationship. This is not, I want a mortgage, I go and find someone that gets me one. This is someone you really trust because you're going to sit with them and tell them what you spend your money on every month, what you think that you're worried about in the future. You've got to go in deep with that person. So make sure you really trust them. So find yourself an advisor first.
And is that just a feeling, Sarah? Is that just, interviewing someone and just getting that feeling?
I think it is.
I like this person. I like the way I feel around this person.
I think it is. I think that's a really good question. And it's just like buying a house. They say, within 10 seconds, by the way, when you start house hunting, that you love this place. And
Yeah.
it's the same with advisors. You've got to feel comfortable with them. You've got to trust them. You've got to feel that they know what they're talking about. Some really good indicators of that is if they're asking you the right questions. So if they're going through your monthly budget with you now, and even if you're not like Timothy, you haven't got money saved, well done, by the way, because that's not easy. And you might be thinking, oh, I can't get a mortgage anyway. I'm years away from this. A good advisor is going to explain everything and actually look at what you spend your money on, show you what it's going to look like to buy a property in future. Make sure they're talking to you about things like protection. And this is something that isn't talked about enough. Make sure you can't just get the mortgage, but are they asking you, what happens if you can't earn any money? What happens if your income stops? How are you going to keep that mortgage? These are all things that you're not expected to know. We weren't taught this at school. Hopefully children now will. But right now they're not. So it's our job to really explain it to you. And you should be buying a property also feeling really empowered.
So important, isn't it?
Yeah, so Timothy, in answer to your question, because I've gone off on a tangent there, speak to an advisor, really get to grips with your monthly money and start looking at properties in your area. How much are they? How much deposit do you think you need? Don't assume you need 10%. You can get a mortgage at 100% loan to value now, as I've spoken about before. You can get one with 5% deposit.
So the 18 can help, obviously, hopefully bringing that down. But,
Yeah,
but don't necessarily be tied to it, is what you're saying.
Don't be tied to it. And, that could really help. But for those people out there that's listening going, great, well, that's great for him, but I haven't got anything saved. Still speak to somebody, because everyone wants to own their own property. And you might be closer than you think.
Okay, great. Natasha's up next. Will my maternity leave impact my mortgage? I'm currently on maternity leave in the process of applying for a mortgage. Will it matter if I go back to work after 9 months or a year? Will the time I go back to work have an impact on my mortgage application? What a good question.
It's a really good question. And I'm sure there's lots of ladies on maternity leave watching. I know I watched this morning on my maternity leave. So, no, it won't. So take the year if you want that year with your baby without worrying about your mortgage. What the lenders do is they'll ask you, what did you earn before you had your baby? And are you likely to go back to that same income? And if you're not, that's a little bit more tricky for a lender. But if you are planning on going back to work, they'll ask you for a letter from your employer to say that she is planning on coming back. And they'll base your income on what it was before. And I like that because I think there's too many occasions where having a baby puts a woman back financially and causes strain, and a mortgage should definitely not be one of them. So that's a good piece of advice.
And is that just some mortgage lenders doing that? All of them are doing that?
All of them, yes. So you don't get penalised for having a baby, nor should you.
That's so good. Susie's been in touch with you. How can my disabled son get a mortgage? So my son is permanently disabled and he's also on disability payments. However, he's absolutely desperate to own his own house. Can he get a mortgage?
He can. So there are mortgage lenders out there that will take disability living allowance or any benefits for that matter as sole income. He needs to get an affordability check done by an advisor and again, talk it all through with somebody, tell them exactly what he earns each month. Definitely dream big and still aspire to have a property. And if you can't quite get there with affordability, you can still look at things like shared ownership. And that's where you buy a share of a property. And so you need less affordability and you pay rent on the rest, and it's with housing associations. That can be a really good way to get on the property ladder if affordability is an issue. But again, like we said, find that person, get comfortable and have that conversation and see what it looks like now and in the future.
Okay, Nicola's been in touch. I have an interest-only mortgage right now and I'm looking to change. I got divorced and the court put a £32,000 charge on the house. Are there any mortgage options that will allow me to remortgage without having to pay off that charge? That's from Nicola in Kent.
Can you just explain what that means?
Yeah, so normally if you have a divorce, there's a situation where you both own a property and perhaps you want to stay in that property, you don't want to sell it, particularly if there's children involved, we see that a lot. And the other partner's, owed some money and they're like, well, that's fine, you can stay in the property, but what happens about my money? And in this case, he was owed £32,000 and he's owed that money. Now, that is a charge on the property. That is just like a mortgage. What that means is that if Nicola sells the property, the mortgage gets paid back first and then this charge. So he will get his money back and a court has ordered that to protect him eventually. What that means for Nicola now is it restricts her options. So she can stay with her current lender and they won't force that to be paid back. But if she does want to move, she is going to need to repay that charge back. And that's
Could she remortgage it and include that £32,000 charge and then give him back his money?
Yes,
let him do one.
Look, you're doing my job brilliantly. I love this. Yes, she can. So if affordability is there, let's just say she's got a £100,000 mortgage now. and the 32 grand charge. She could go to another lender and say, will you lend me £132,000? She'll pay back the charge, the property is hers. And the reason why that's brilliant that you mentioned that is because affordability has changed. The FCA is working really closely with us as an industry right now, and 85% of lenders have improved affordability in the last 2 months. So if you were a no before, you could be a yes now, and that's the message for everybody, not just Nicola. So affordability is better. So she could do exactly what you've just said, and this might be the next stage of the fresh start.
Well, there you go, Nicola. Good luck with that. And Sarah Tucker, you have absolutely smashed that out
brilliant.
the park.
And Ham
Thank you
Mortgages
so-
will be available very soon.
Yeah, thank you so very
If you're
much.
after
Thank
mortgage,
you.
have a Ham Mortgage.
Listen, we've got more money advice
Come on.
actually next week when Martin Lewis will be here. Let's have a look.
Hello, there's a lot going on in the world of money at the moment. There's an